I literally love how content my child is. Bless her. She's so content. The amount of times I've taken her to toy stores and toy shops, and I've walked her through so many aisles and given her so many options, and she's only like picked one or two toys and walked out the store with the biggest smile on her face, and she's so excited, bless her, and this has just made her day. It's never ever a case of her crying for things. If anything, like, I feel like I have it so easy, and I'm so blessed that I have it so easy, even when it comes to food and even when it comes to other things like playtime or activity time. She's just so content with like the simplest things you can think of. Bless her. Like, she'll be content with a piece of toast with butter on it, and she'll be the happiest kid ever, and that's all she wants. Or an apple or an orange, and that's all she wants, and that'll just is enough to make her very happy. Activity time is the same. I'll be like, do you want to go to the park? Do you want to go to the farm? Should we go to a soft play centre? And she's like, no, I want to stay here and do this, and I'm just happy to stay here and do this. And I love that. I absolutely love that, because whatever is her type of fun, that's exactly what she'll find fun, right? And to her, this is absolute bliss and absolute contentment, to just sit here in her room and do this activity or complete this task. And to her, that's way better than going out to play in the park or going to see the animals. How about I see the animals in this book that I'm reading right now? And she does have a book of all the animals, farm animals, zoo animals, wild animals, birds, every type of creature you can think of. And she'll sit there all day just reading about the different creatures. And if that's her way of learning, then that's her way of learning. And this is why she's teaching me contentment. She's teaching me now how to be content in life with less, because yes, less is more. And when you pay enough attention to the small details around you, they're enough to teach you everything you need to know. And I love how my 4-year-old daughter is now teaching me this at 30 years of age. She's teaching me contentment. She's teaching me how to be happier with less, and how that real happiness is not buying me mum so many toys and not getting me everything I want, but in these simple things that I find. Like, for example, when she picks out a toy in a store, is because I know she's already thinking about a million of ways to play with that toy. And that's exactly what happens when we go home. She'll like make a million ways to play with that 1 or 2 toys that she's picked in store. So when I sit there and I'm like, do you want anything else? Like, are you sure you don't want any more? Are you sure you don't want this? Or you don't want... She's like, no, mummy, like, mummy, you don't get it. Like, I'm just happy with this, because to me, this is like a million toys, right? Because I can play with it in so many different ways. And then bless her, she goes home and she's actually playing with that toy every single day, to the point where she's not even getting bored of it, and she's not throwing it away and asking for more toys. She's actually enjoying the same toy every day. It's the same case with reading books as well. She'll pick out, like right now she's going through an Aladdin phase, right? And she's in love with the evil magician in the story. She loves the evil magician. It's actually so hilarious. And she's literally reading that book every night before bed, and then watching the movie throughout the day as well, because she's just obsessed. And her favorite character in the story is the evil magician. And that also taught me something, that like, there's a lot of wisdom in everything around us, right? Not every bad person in the story is necessarily a bad person, and not all heroes are also heroes and good people, right? Because when she showed so much interest in the evil magician, I was like, okay, you like villains like me, because I like villains as well in stories. I'm not going to lie, I feel like they teach us a lot more than the hero actually does. Because when you watch Aladdin in the beginning, the start of the story, right, he was stealing bread, and then the guards were after him for breaking the law and becoming a thief. And instead of like giving himself in, he just continued running away. But the story deemed him as the hero, right? In the end, like, he was made to be the superhero and the one who saved the world and saved the princess and made everyone rich. When in reality, the only reason why Aladdin became a rich man and married Jasmine and lived happily ever after was because of the evil magician. If it wasn't for the evil magician actually guiding him to where that lamp is, he would have never had the life he did, right? And this is why me and my daughter love the evil magician so much, because he actually is a wizard and he is a magician. If it wasn't for him, and this is why not necessarily the bad people in the story are actually bad people, right? Because he's the one that gave him that life. And look at it this way as well, maybe the things we deem bad in our lives is that evil magician, right? But is the evil magician who also made us who we are today. So if it wasn't for the evil magician, we wouldn't be who we are today. So be grateful to the evil magician, because the evil magician is not even a bad person. It's not a bad thing. It's just all is. And it's just crazy how sometimes when you sit there and observe little things like that with children who are deemed and labelled that there's something wrong with them, and we think they have autism and ADHD and we need to get them help, that they teach you so much when you actually pay attention, because what they label as autistic children, yeah, are children who actually pay attention to so many details, to every detail there is. I was reading this in the book actually that talks about autism, and it was saying, like, you know how a normal person like will look at a tree and just see the tree, right? An autistic person will look at a tree and like look at all the smallest little details in the tree before seeing the full image of the tree, if that makes sense. So they start observing all the little details, the wigs, the twigs, the leaves, the everything on the tree, and then they see the full image, so they appreciate it more. And that just goes to show like how expanded their minds are, autistic children, right? Or children that are undiagnosed and are labelled that at the moment, like my child. And this is why, bless her, she's teaching me so much, I swear. And because I'm sitting there paying attention to those small details, is really opening my eyes to how she thinks and how she views the world and how she sees everything around her. And although they're new to life, these little autistic children, yeah, they still know how to behave better than us adults. Where they're trying to correct them and tell them what's right and what's wrong and tell them off because we think they're misbehaving, and control and judge everything they do, but they still behave better than us. If anything, is the grown-ups that need to be told how to be and how to behave, because I think that's what we tend to forget over time, because when we grow older we automatically think we know better because we're older and we know more than you, and you're just a little dumb child that doesn't know anything. But although these little creatures, those tiny people, are new to life, they honestly know so much more than we do. They just act like children, they act like babies, but they're really teaching us how to be and how to live and how to act and how to behave if we pay enough attention. But where they're trying to correct them and we want them to be a certain way, and that's what then causes rebelliousness and people to rebel and become rebellious, because you can't tell someone what to do in life or how to behave. The reason I jump, and there's literally like 50 reasons in this book, or 50 like questions that an autistic person is getting questioned and he's answering them, right? I can tell you now that when I read this book, I read it with the intention to see if my daughter relates to that book in any way. I actually found that I've related as her mother to everything in this book way more than she relates as well. Most of the things in that book are actually talking about me rather than talking about her, and it just made me deep things. I've never ever been diagnosed for autism in my life, but I probably have it. And that's not a disorder or a disability, because the person that wrote this book has autism and they wrote it when they were only 13. And this book is like the most spiritual thing I've ever read in my life as well. It just literally explains how autism is just a way of just being, and just being different to everyone else as well, with how you do things, how you see things, how you believe in things, and how you find contentment in other things as well. Because some people, yeah, may find comfort or contentment in the company of other people, whereas autistic people don't. Autistic people like to be alone and they like to be left to it. And again, that's opened me up to the reasons why my daughter prefers to play on her own. And she, even when she's in school, she's always solo. Yes, there's so many kids around, but she's still solo because she's got no interest in playing with anyone else. She finds the most joy and the most fun that she could possibly have in her day is by being spent alone, because she can explore so much more and she can do so much more without having to share with anyone. And this is exactly what I was talking about in my previous video when I was saying about not sharing is actually caring, because you're prioritizing yourself, you're putting yourself first, and because you are more than capable of exploring life and exploring things on your own, you don't necessarily seem to find any joy or happiness in sharing that with other people, because it's precious to you, because it's your time to learn and explore and get creative and embrace what talents and skills you have. And I understand when autistic children don't want to share that with other people, because it then blocks them from being able to be creative. The description of last night's video entailed of this: autism is not something to be healed, but to be understood. I came to this conclusion after reading the book The Reason I Jump, written by a 13-year-old author. I read the book to see if my daughter related in any way, just to find that I related to the book more than my daughter. I think based on what I read, if that is whatever autism is, then I'm definitely autistic. In fact, there are even more things which Naoki hasn't even mentioned in the book that I also believe in, which I might even write a whole book about, the things that I do that I think are so different to everyone else. I'm realizing now that autism is just a different way of being. It's not about trying to change that child or tell them how to behave better. It's about letting them be. Autism actually highlights, if anything, how much judgment is in the world for children simply behaving differently. Children are just like us, tiny people. They have emotions and they have feelings and understand everything around them, yet they act like babies. With that being said, they behave more better than adults do, if anything, because they're more present in the moment. We judge children all the time, not allow them to express when they cry. And when they cry and start throwing tantrums, because we adults can't handle it, we start having tantrums and screaming at them to stop. So we literally reflect the same behavior the child is doing, but in adult form, right back at them. And that's fine, but the child screaming and crying is bad for doing that. There are literally worse issues in the world to focus on than trying to diagnose and label every kid out there with something. We're constantly creating more problems in the world unconsciously, and that was my description of yesterday's video. If this is what autism is, then it's definitely teaching me contentment in life. It's teaching me to be content and happier with less and get creative, because once you get creative, you'll realize that you can actually make so much out of nothing, or make so much out of something. The same way she finds so much joy in playing with the same toy over and over again, because she knows she can play with it in so many different ways, is the same case with everything else that she has. She's just the most content baby ever. I've been persuading her to come out with me and go to the park and go even get her toys from the shop. And she's just been saying, no, 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 I'm just happy here. It's nice for a child to feel safe, because once they feel safe, they can go far, far in life once they feel safe, and once they're in a safe environment where they can just be themselves, knowing that no one is going to judge them or try stop them or tell them off or look at them differently just because they're like that. It's nice for a child to feel safe and to feel like they can just be them, right? It's exactly how people feel, for example, when they go to festivals and they find that everyone is just so accepting, and it's the same principle. The reason why adults feel so happy in festivals is literally because of that, because you've never been in an environment in your life where you just feel so safe and protected and not judged for being you. I've said this in my previous video, the last one I spoke about autism as well. Autism is teaching me compassion, it's teaching me love, it's teaching me patience, and today is also opened my eyes to contentment. It's now taught me contentment in life. And that's all through observing my 4-year-old undiagnosed baby, and everything she's teaching me is in life, or that she's taught me in life so far, is a lifestyle, is how we should approach every day, and is how we should be in life. And being her and not worrying about other people's judgment. And it's taught me now as well to just be myself. even if society looks at me differently and even if society judges me, to just be me and not be afraid to be me and not be afraid of society or anyone. Just be you. And that's what kids in general teach us, to be fair, autistic or not. That's exactly what kids teach us all the time, is just the freedom and the beauty and the joy of just being you. And just, that's if they allow you to, without labeling you things and telling you that there's stuff wrong with you and that you need to go and get certain medication or certain specialists or certain help for just being the way you are.